BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back with another one of my reviews, and as you know by now, you know how this works. It's off the cuff, it's from a few notes. I don't write a script, but I am a huge fan of Formula One, and here we are, looking at the 2018 iteration. I reviewed 2017, I reviewed 2016. The links will be in the video description and on the website if you want to go back and look. And in many ways, I suggest you do, because 2018 is very much a product of the previous two releases. It's Codemasters' continuation of the fantastic Formula One franchise on Xbox One, PS4 and PC. And as we sit here in the mid-season break with news coming out all over the place and Spa just around the corner, no time is better than now to get into some Formula One. And what you'll notice immediately on that menu, things look familiar. The modes on offer are pretty much exactly the same as what we got last year, and that's not a bad thing. This is without a doubt an iterative sequel, and by that I mean it's not an evolution so much or a revolution, it's very much the further step forward in Formula One. And just because there's not a huge raft of changes doesn't mean the experience we have here is a bad one. It actually is a fantastically good one. Things have been honed now in this game to a point of racing perfection. I love the feel of the car on the track. Just like last year, the tech changes in the real sport are brilliantly reflected in the game. And guys, the Halo thing, it's not that big a deal. You can sit in the cockpit, you can actually pick an option to remove the central strut. You don't even notice it. And as you see in the view I predominantly race in, it's just like the onboard camera perspective, though centered a little bit, and it really doesn't bother you. By this point in the season, I'm completely used to the Halo. I do think it's a slightly odd choice for a Formula One car. It's not exactly sexy and sleek, however, it's a safety thing, and Formula One has to become more safe as we move into the future. But that's all beside the point. Let's talk a bit more about the game. The R&D options that you remember are there. The development of the car options you remember are there from last year. Nothing's been removed. The classic cars are there. The multiplayer suite is there. The event mode where you can do different time challenges and scoreboard chase, that's there. The single player career with its deep sort of choice system where you can really pick the team you want to be in and develop it via R&D and then move to maybe another team, that's all in there and expanded this year with what is maybe the one standout new feature, which is part of this sort of headline sort of mode and modus operandi that Codemasters are sort of putting F1 2018 within, and that is the ability to once again talk to the press. It's a feature that was in there many years ago, but certainly hasn't existed on this current generation of hardware. And this basically takes shape as you're having a chat with this female reporter who asks you a bunch of canned questions in which you have a selection of up to 4 answers, and these things will shape how the team perceives you. If you're perceived as a sportsman or a team player, it will affect how different departments within the team perceive you. It can give you boosts and buffs and debuffs based on the choices that you're making. It's all fun and it works wonderfully, but at the end of the day, you're playing F1 2018 for the immersive racing experience, and that really is fantastic, just like it was last year. The way in which free practice is such an integral and important part of the experience is just the same. It all really goes together into the weekend of Formula One that we enjoy watching so much on TV. Everything from FP1 through the qualifying through to the full race. And that's just replicated in as full a way as you want. I personally go for an abbreviated version of practice and qualifying and a sort of 25 to 50% iteration of the race. You can make this game as realistic to the experience as you want. So you can have hours of free practice, followed by full qualifying, followed by a full 2-hour long race. You know, if you really want to do that, you can turn off every assist going. You can make this game as challenging as possible, as real to the sport as possible. And as a simulator of the sport, I absolutely adore F1 2018. I like starting on easy-ish. I like having a racing line in there. I like being able to get used to the track, and then I slowly remove the assists until I'm playing closer to a simulation. I won't go full sim. I'm not that guy. I don't have a racing wheel set up. And at that point, it's worth mentioning I play all these games on the control pad. And to be honest, it still feels great. Those reactive triggers on the Xbox One really help you're finding those sort of bite points in the braking and the turning zones. It's really, really cool. I absolutely love these franchise of games. I absolutely adore the F1 series from Codemasters. They just seem to be getting better and better. And if you want to travel back in time, if you want to go back to the eras before the hybrid engine and relive the fantasies of the big V8s and the whole eras of giant tires and less downforce, then you can do that with the classic cars. They're in here. There's a few more of them this year, though it's hardly a feature worth shouting about the addition of maybe a 2 or 3 more vehicles. So there's a reason for the score I'm about to give. Last year I scored F1 2017 as 5 stars because it took the foundation of the year before that and really expanded upon the career, really brought back those classic cars, really made the racing feel so dynamic and so great. And that's all still here this year. I just feel that forcing these out once a year the way they do means that there's not enough time for them to really develop and innovate within the series. Maybe like support races could be added in for some more variety, because there's loads of support races that happen around a Formula 1 weekend. That would be cool. Imagine being able to do some Porsche Super Cup or something like that. But that's not here. What we have though is a very full and exciting representation of the sport. And as I've said previous, I'm not sure it's designed to appeal to a mass audience of racing fans. It's not a Forza Horizon or a Burnout Paradise or even just a Forza Motorsport for that matter. It's a very singular experience that if you're a fan of Formula 1, you will take a lot away from. And there's so much to love here. There's so much length in the career, so much you can commit to this and developing the cars and developing your team and your personality as a driver. One thing worth mentioning that I haven't been able to test that much prior to release is multiplayer, but they brought in a ranking system in multiplayer this year, which means that if you behave well on the track like a real Formula 1 driver, you'll get matched with other players that also behave well, and the people that play poorly or crash a lot or don't play seriously will therefore get weeded out and be playing with just other troublemakers like that. Because if you're going to race in Formula 1, you want to try and race like they really do, paying attention to apexes and braking zones, really trying to turn into those corners and not just spear the guys in front of you off the track. So yeah, I really liked F1 2018, and it's worth mentioning, like I said, I scored last year 5 stars. This year, I'm going to give F1 2018, for everything I've just said, 4 out of 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.